feel like my dreams exist when I'm asleep, and it's like super intense, but I don't know how much they filter into my real world. Oh, they're so cute. They'll grow up to be frogs. Is it just tadpole straight to frog? Oh, it's like fish too, an animal. Eat and swim.
Big fat one there.
It's probably almost a frog. Yeah, you guys are kind of lost. There's quite an aesthetic that surrounds this project specifically that I kind of feel like I don't want to digress too insanely from it. It's experimental pop music. It's sensual and immediately gratifying and feel good. And I want it to be dance music because I love playing dance music. But it also needs to be texturally interesting and sonically interesting. And I also need to be able to play it forever and talk about it in interviews. So it needs to be lyrically meaningful to me and all these other things. I actually really like writing super mindless pop music. I could write singles day and night, but I would be kind of embarrassed to just put out like incredibly vapid, mainstream sounding pop music. Like there's just so many other things that I spend days on and hours on and am very methodological with and work really hard on, and that's kind of like, okay, this is Grimes, this is like the album, it all fits into the context of this album, which is kind of well-rounded like this, and there's more of like an overarching aesthetic to how the songs fit together and everything. I feel like when I'm doing my best work, it's when I'm not being very logical. Like it's a very kind of abstract, out of body kind of, I'm not thinking about this is just happening sort of thing. And I feel like lyrics are the antithesis to that. I don't know, I'd actually, a challenge for me would be to work on something a lot more minimal. That's kind of what I want to do with the next record. Minimalism is really interesting because it requires, it comes down so much to just the general tone and personality of the person writing the music in a weird way, because it's so open and exposed. And you look at something like Erez and it's just a million people are writing really simple piano songs, and for some reason his work is just so much more resonant than almost anything else. And it just really has to do with probably him being extremely emotionally intelligent or something. I really like the idea of minimalism, but when I'm actually working on something, it just usually ends up becoming extremely ornamented. I just can't stop adding things. So I have a bunch of music and all these kind of disparate styles, and I need to think about what I'm actually going to do and focus on that. It's really hard because now I understand the touring process, and that whatever I agree to sort of artistically for my next album, I'm going to have to sit with that for like a year and a half. So that's just so much pressure, because it's like, well, what can I handle playing like 250 times? Wow, this is fucking unbelievable. This seems more 1700s than 1800s. It feels very Greco-Roman kind of. They look like sort of unsure. Like this really sort of like intense anxiety in the eyes of all the statues. I feel like I'm a swan in the body of a hyena about to emerge from the mouth of the hyena. So the hyena goes like, ah, and its head rips open, and the swan is just like, ah, ah. Oh God, we can't miss any more sound preparation. I really need a sound check. It makes a world of difference. Just because I play such loud music, you know, that it should just be dance music. It's really hard to have vocals over dance music, so it's really important to have the vocals clear, especially when you're looping, because if you get noise in the loop, then you're like just screwed. I don't read press or anything, so my concept of the depiction of me in the media is very poor. I just don't really know what it's like. I used to, and then I read like 2 interviews with myself, and I was so appalled by, I just don't want to know what I'm saying, because it's embarrassing most of the time. Hip hop is probably my favorite kind of music. The thing about rap vocals is that you can just completely change the melody of the song you're working on. You're not dependent on these specific chords because the vocals aren't going along with anything. They're not harmonizing with any chords. They're just like, it's just spoken. And it's super rhythmic too, so you can use them, you can play with them so much in a rhythmic way, which is, I don't know, always harder with, you know, it's not the same as like, da-da-da-da-na-na-na-na-na. Today was really just a matter of just trying to get into it as much as possible on a performative level. The sound was really bad on stage, but I could tell it was really good in the space. I think that may have also been the biggest show I've ever played, ever. And plus my brother was on stage and like some random girl was like taking her clothes off on stage. You know, I've been listening to a lot of like Eurythmics and like playing a lot with like really deep vocals, like really low, like singing really deeply. I think androgynous vocals are really cool. I just feel like with Visions, it's so vulnerable. At the time when I was making it, it was like, you know, it was like a really good thing, but I was in like a really bad place. And I think I was like very emotionally, like mentally weak. And, you know, instead of making something and then sort of cautiously kind of seeing what people say, I've really from the live show taken this, like, I like being like really aggressive. I feel like I've been perceived as like really cute in the media, and like everyone's always like, Grimes is so cute, and like people always shout at me at my shows, people are always like, you're adorable, and it's just like, it's awful. I like absolutely hate that, like, because I don't see myself that way at all. And it's weird because it wasn't until after I put out the album that I realized that it was coming across that way. And I feel like people think that Grimes is kind of clinical and like out of it and like trendy and it's all like computer stuff, but it's not very human or something, and I don't think that's true. I think that's a big misconception maybe. I mean, I guess the thing with Grimes is that it seems new to everybody, but it's just always been this way for me. Like, I don't care if people pay attention or not. That's like not the thing that is gratifying to me. I will always make music, I will always make art.